Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how's it going over there?
Good. How are you doing?
Very good. I'm excited because we got a lot of fun stuff that we're going to talk about throughout the program today. But we do have a guest later in the show, and I'm actually excited to visit with this guy. It's a guy that has a book out, and we're going to be talking about, does God have a name? Because, you know, people talk about God, but, you know, in other religions you hear them refer to their God with a specific name. And he says that our God has a name too. So it's actually going to be kind of a fun thing.
God?
No, that's not. We're going to chat about it. And his name is Peter Miller-Russo. We'll be chatting with him later in the program.
God's name?
No, that's the guy that we're going to be talking to. Yeah, that's God's name.
I was going to say, that's awfully specific. I would have never guessed.
No, that is the author's name. Oh, Heidi. All right, hey, did you know that McDonald's Big Mac turned 48 last month?
No, I did not.
I might be the only man in America who's never had a Big Mac.
Oh, they're so
I've never had one because I don't like onions, and I see when you order them, it's got that sauce on it that I'm like,
it's so good.
I eat their quarter pounders like they're going out of style, but no, I've never done a Big Mac. So maybe I'll have to celebrate. 48 years old.
You
maybe
should try one.
I'll try.
You should at least take a bite of mine one time and see if you like it.
I just don't know if I can do that. I know I can't do the onions, and I don't know if I can do that special sauce.
Oh, good Lord.
We'll have to chat about it. Coming up, we're going to head to New Zealand, where a guy called a police officer pigs, and the judge gave him a very interesting sentence. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month, plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. Now, I, for one, am a big fan of police officers, and I understand that they do a job that, first of all, most people couldn't do, and many people wouldn't do. They keep our society civilized.
Yes.
Without laws, without people enforcing those laws, I mean, just think about what would happen. It would be bad. Well, there's a guy that apparently is not a big fan of police officers in New Zealand, and a judge who must be a fan of police officers, a judge in New Zealand ordered this man who called police officers pigs to spend a day at a pig farm and then write an essay about the difference between pigs and police officers.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was he said, you know what, I'm going to give you a fine, but more so than a fine, here's what you're going to do.
Oh, I like that.
So
that's
now,
a good punishment.
I think
that.
It's really sad. The media, and I'm sad to even mention that we're part of the media when this stuff happens, but the media lately has tried to demonize police officers.
We are not part of that media.
No.
Not in any way.
They've tried to
at
vilify
all.
police officers. We're not a part of that either. I want to glorify them because without them, we would have no one to enforce laws, and we would have a very, very bad situation. So thank you to each and every police officer, man or woman, who straps on a badge and a gun every day and goes to work and puts their life on the line. Thank you so much for doing that.
Amen.
I'm not like this guy who refers to as pigs. I got a different name for you. It's called Hero. That's the one I'm using. Coming up, we got some monkey business we're going to chat about. That's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Oh, Heidi, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A little monkey business has been going on at a safari park in Scotland. People have been receiving prank phone calls from a chimpanzee.
Oh, that's awesome.
Would it surprise you to know that chimps can make prank phone calls?
It wouldn't surprise me, no.
The Blair Drummond Safari Park in central Scotland was inundated with visitors to see Chippy. He stole a mobile phone and quickly learned how to use it. Chippy the chimp apparently picked the pocket of one of the zoo workers.
Oh, that's fantastic.
While he was cleaning out Chippy's cage, suddenly some of the wardens started getting mysterious calls the next morning. One worker heard the chimp's shrieks, and that's when Chippy was busted. Chippy is one of 4 chimpanzees at the park, and he's dialed into the phone's stored numbers and started making random calls.
Oh, my gosh.
They say he was a little depressed when we took the phone away, according to the zookeeper, but everybody comes in wanting to see Chippy. I have not been able to do my work. everybody's going, hey, I want to see Chippy, that chimp that makes prank phone calls.
That's fantastic.
So anybody that maybe works at a zoo, here's an idea. Teach some of your animals to make prank phone calls and you'll have more visitors.
Oh, that's so funny.
If you're going to get a prank phone call from any animal, what animal would you like to get a prank phone call from?
Oh, for sure, a monkey.
A monkey?
For sure.
Would you want like a chimpanzee
It wouldn't
monkey?
even matter what monkey. Just any monkey. Would
How
be
about
awesome to start getting phone calls. Even a parrot would be kind of cool because then they
Wait a
could talk
minute.
to you.
A monkey or a parrot. These are
Yeah.
two completely different things.
But a parrot could talk to you.
That's cool. I saw a video of a parrot that was singing like background vocals from a song. There was a song where there was like a ooh, 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 and then they had this parrot that would make that same noise. So they'd play the song, and the parrot even knew when it was coming up.
Oh, funny.
It was really cool. Parrots are amazing. Chimpanzees, according to this story, is true because you heard it on the radio. They're amazing as well. And I love our dogs. Not that they would ever like make a phone call, but dogs are amazing too.
Our dogs definitely couldn't make a phone call.
I think I could dial the number and hand it to them, and they'd still just look at me like I'm nuts. So there you go. All that fun stuff. Animals just make me smile. Thank you so much for tuning in. And the chimpanzee story is true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. A ton of pot has gone up in smoke. Federal authorities are trying to figure out who stored 2,000 pounds, that's 1 ton, of marijuana in a South Texas warehouse. It took more than 35 firefighters over a half hour to put out the blaze, and it seems those firefighters had a bit of a problem. Edinburgh Fire Chief Sean Snyder says his fire crews were exposed to so much marijuana smoke that they would not be able to pass a drug test.
Oh.
Because while they were putting out this blaze, they were, inhaling the smoke that was coming their way, and it was smoke from marijuana, so they were dazed and confused at the end of the firefight. So 35 firefighters. It took them over a half hour to put out this blaze.
That's
And they don't even know whose this was. It was in a storage unit that caught fire. So how crazy is that?
That's an interesting day at work.
Yeah. So what did you do today? Well, I put out the largest bong that's ever been in existence. A ton of pot all at once. And 35 firefighters, a half hour to put out the blaze. Just crazy. There you go. Coming up here in a bit, we've got your moment of duh and the scoop of the day. And we've got a special guest this morning, Peter Miller-Russo. And we're going to talk about this. Does God have a name? We're going to chat about that in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now your moment of duh. In Britain, a man was applying for a position with a security firm. Keep in mind, he wanted to work in a security firm. The interview asked him to produce some identification. The only document the 24-year-old had with his name and address on it was an arrest warrant from a police notifying him to turn himself in. He handed it to the police, not the policeman, but the guy in charge of this security firm.
Goodness.
He's like, well, this has got my name and address on it here.
Oh.
So they called the police and they came
Man.
and picked him up. So how'd the interview
You
go?
can't make this stuff up.
No, that is so dumb. Why would you be walking around with that? I'm just saying. I mean, when you do, you're going to end up on kind of like the moment of duh. We're going to talk about that on the radio. Also, coming up here in a moment, we have your scoop of the day, so we've got some fun stories. We're going to talk about where luggage goes, Heidi.
Alrighty.
When you go on vacation, where does your luggage go? We've got the most popular destinations for lost luggage. That's coming your way on the scoop of the day.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Research has shown the most likely place for lost airline luggage to turn up is the Egyptian capital of Cairo. What? Other popular destinations for missing bags
I'm
includes...
assuming from international flights, not like if you were heading from Chicago to New York.
Do you know where my bag
Where's
went?
your luggage?
It's in
I
Cairo.
think it's in Cairo.
I don't know why. Other popular destinations for missing bags includes Amsterdam and Bangkok towards the top of the list. Spain and the United States and Germany also make it up as honorable mentions too. 40-year-old St. Louis woman says she's not dead. She spent months trying to convince credit reporting agencies that she is alive.
We did this one.
No, this is a different one. Alexandria Gori is suing Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax over the glitch, contending that because they thought she was dead, it has been difficult for her to get a loan.
It is a
to
different
buy
one.
A home. Yeah, so there was another one that was suing
the
a hospital.
One that was suing the hospital because they
pronounced her
reported
dead.
it to the wrong person.
Yeah, and this one is a completely different one where they clicked the wrong box and said she's dead, so that's bad. Joke thieves beware. Twitter seems to be cracking down on plagiarism. And a freewheeling universe home to millions of spam bots, fake celebrities, and trolls, it's no surprise that Twitter accounts habitually steal short quips to rack up followers. Now the social media network is erasing and hiding a number of tweets reported as stolen. So if you tweet something witty and somebody goes, I like that, I'm going to take that, they can actually get in trouble for it now. So,
why?
Because Twitter's saying, hey, you know what? Come up with your own witty stuff. Quit stealing all of John's witty stuff.
Is there nothing else that people have to worry about?
I'm saying after 250,000 reports from my witty account saying, hey, these people are stealing my stuff.
I really don't think...
They finally heard me.
I don't think that has ever happened, ever.
I've never complained. Honestly, I do love coming up with witty stuff to throw on social media, but my social media of choice is Facebook, not Twitter. So, sorry, Twitter. Nobody's stealing my stuff over there. I got nothing to say. They don't give me enough room. 144 characters, whatever. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about this. According to the Pew Research Center, nearly 80% of Americans don't trust big government.
Really?
Only 80%?
Yeah. What's wrong with the rest of those people?
20%. We need to talk later. A Florida tourist attraction worker was attacked by an alligator while on the job last week. Sergio Hernandez was bitten by the gator while he was working in a pond at the Forever Florida, a zip line and ecotourism attraction. The reptile is said to have taken a chunk out of his leg.
Ew.
Ouch. So does the zip line go over the alligators? That's maybe not a
pretty
good idea.
That's probably not a good idea.
Here's our family photo, and you'll notice Bobby's missing. He zip-lined over the gators and didn't quite make it. Is your computer affecting your relationship? According to a new survey by Crucial.com, 2 out of every 5 U.S. adults report having computer-related issues in their relationship.
How do you have computer-related issues?
Well, the biggest computer-related complaint is that their partner spends too much time plugged in and not enough time talking to them. Hey, over here. Apparently, daylight savings time is not only not working, it may be backfiring. Turning the clocks forward in the spring was supposed to save energy. Instead, extra sunshine encourages drivers to get out more and use more fuel. So they're saying that if we would get rid of that, it would probably balance out and be better for us than what we're actually saving. We're spending more energy than we're saving. When men complain of the symptoms of pregnancy, it's called phantom pregnancy. Have you heard of this before?
I have heard of this before.
I think that's what I've got. There might be more to it than we think. Up to 65% of expectant fathers reported experience at least one symptom of pregnancy. Studies show more than 20% of expectant dads actually sought medical care because of it. They're like, hey, I think I'm having morning sickness. I've
heard about this.
I just felt something kick.
I have heard about this many times, actually.
It's called phantom pregnancy. Hey, let's talk about a strange law. Fowl roosters, to be specific, are prohibited from going into bakeries in Massachusetts. No roosters in a bakery.
I would hope so.
They have to get their baked goods elsewhere. All right. That's going to do it for your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We've got a special guest on the phone right now. We have Peter Miller-Russo. He's an author. We're going to chat about his book. But first, welcome to the program, Peter. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very, very good. You've got a cool book, and what we're going to be talking about is, does God have a name? And I think this is a cool topic to talk about. Now, first of all, what is the name of the book that you have out?
Well, it's called Proclaim His Holy Name.
Okay, very cool. Proclaim His holy name. And there are people that maybe are familiar, and there may be people who are not familiar, but let's talk about the question at hand. Does God have a name?
Yes, He does, and it's revealed, for the Judeo-Christian worldview in the West here, it is revealed in the original Hebrew Scriptures that are the basis for our Old Testament, or the Bible is the Old Testament.
And the name that most people would go with, is it Yehovah? Is that how you would say that?
Well, the way the pronunciation that we've come up in our understanding and our exploration of the Bible and the Hebrew, and looking at different Hebrew sources, is Yehovah with the emphasis in the last syllable. The Hebrew is usually emphasizing the last syllable, so it's Yehovah. You'll notice that's very close to Jehovah. When the main things in Hebrew is the letters J, there's really no sound of J or a letter J in Hebrew. So Joseph in Hebrew is Yosef, and Jerusalem is Yerushalayim, and Israel is Yisrael. So you got these a little bit of different understanding of the culture and the language, but there's no J sound.
And now I've heard Yahweh. I've heard people pronounce. Now, is that something completely different than Yahovah?
Well, the reason that we have different understandings of the divine name and the pronunciation goes back to the original Hebrew language, in which Moses recorded the Father's name down in Hebrew. And there's an ancient language, Paleo-Hebrew, which is a different kind of text formatting of the letters, and there's modern Hebrew. But in both cases, there was no vowel markings. So in our language, let's take the word Lord in English. You see it as L, we see it as L-O. O is the vowel, R-D, three consonants and one vowel. But in Hebrew, you probably would have seen it written as L-R-D. And as you looked at L-R-D, you know from the context that was the word Lord, and you pronounce it. So there is this little confusion now in the present time, and a lot of people won't say the name or try to understand the name because they're not sure the specific pronunciation because of the the vowel markings were not in the original Hebrew.
So it's kind of like they don't want to say the name because they don't want to get it wrong. Kind of like if you have a friend that you know, it's either Jim or it's James, but I know his last name is Smith, so I'm going to just call him Mr. Smith because you want to make sure you get it right.
That's one of the reasons that people don't say the name. When you said, is it Yahweh or Yehovah? There's a couple of other variations that people have. There are other reasons why people don't say the name. In the Jewish faith or Judaism, they believe it's too holy to say, and also they believe that they don't want to accidentally take the name in vain. And then in vain, you would say, well, how can you do that accidentally? You're not saying, the expletive that we come in our Western culture is, God, then some bad word, it, like you want something to damn it type thing. So, but that's not really vain. Vain in the Hebrew way of looking at it is ineffective, like in a useless manner, like a casual way of saying God's name. So they don't say it so they don't accidentally, misuse it.
Well, it's an interesting time right now, and it's perfect timing for this particular interview. I love the fact that you've got this book out. Again, the book is called Proclaim His Holy Name, Uncovering Yahovah's Will for His Name. But when you think about this, just recently here, over the Labor Day weekend, the number one movie in America was a movie that most people would have never guessed to be the number one movie. It's called War Room, and it's a Christian film. It's a faith-based film. There have been several faith-based films recently that have come out and have done very, very well at the box office. I think right now, and I don't know, this is just me thinking, and what do I know? But I think right now, I think our nation is really seeking some guidance and seeking some help. And I think this is a time where it would be a great time to know God on a first-name basis. So what a perfect time to have the book, Proclaim His Holy Name, Uncovering Yehovah's Will for His Name. How long ago did you start writing this, and how long have you been working on this?
Well, we started it back on our first trip to Israel in 2009. It was there where we had wanted to go to the Holy Land for quite a long time. We were able to go there. And there was something stirred up inside us and about the name. We had learned the name in our 40s now. We learned that the name wasn't Lord, because if you look at your Old Testament in the Bible, 6,800 times you'll see normally it's all capitals, L-O-R-D.
Yeah.
And you see it so much you don't think about it. Some sort of like things you see in your daily life, like a stop sign. You don't think about it. It's there, and I'm supposed to stop. Well, you see the word Lord, and you think that's His name. And if you read the context of some of the verses, they don't make sense. Like in Isaiah, He says, I am the Lord, that is my name. And you think about, well, Lord is not a name, is it? No, it's a title. It was a substitution for the Hebrew letters, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, which are the Hebrew letters that spell Yehovah or Yahweh. And so we kind of get in the blinders in our eyes and we don't see it. It's right there in front of us.
Right now, like I said, we just talked about the movies, the films that are out, and this all across the nation. I really, truly think people are seeking information, but I also think that there's another side where you see a lot of violence happening right now. You see a lot of people that are lashing out against authority. You know, there are police officers there. I wouldn't want to be a police officer in our country now. Thank you so much to all the men and women who serve in our military and serve right here on the ground in the United States as a police officer. But I think we've got some interesting things going on spiritually in our world right now. And how do you feel about that? And do you think that by people maybe getting to know Yahovah a little better, that things would maybe work out a little better for people?
Yeah, getting to know His Word and His Son, because His Son preached love, and His mission on earth was not to come with the sword, not to condemn, but to give us life and salvation. And if we learn how to love like He does, things will be different. And obviously, all lives matter. Black lives, white lives matter. Every life matters. And the protesters, we need to love. You know, we don't need to love injustice. We need to have justice. So if there's a peace officer who is in the wrong, or like any person, we should bring them to justice. But we shouldn't just blanketly say they're all evil. That doesn't make any sense. Protesting for no reason other than just for protesting makes no sense either.
Not at all.
Well, you know, the Bible says in the end times, love of many will grow cold. We have to kindle that love again. And reading the Bible, going to a Spirit-filled church, getting with other believers, and actually immersing yourself in it, that's going to be where our salvation is. It's in the Word.
Now, how different would Christianity be today if we got the Creator's name right, rather than saying Lord and saying God, if we were, you know, referring to God by name? How different would Christianity be today?
Well, that's a really good question. I think that if we all came to try to understand the Father's name, we become more unified. As there's so many different denominations here within Christianity, probably hundreds, maybe even into the thousands, that if we all came together under one, let's say, banner, His name, and to give His glory to His name, maybe our selfish interests and our squabbles would disappear. You know, in John 17, Jesus, whose Hebrew name is Yehoshua or Yeshua, He prayed to the Father that we would all be one as He and the Father are one. And I think He's speaking about not just the people of the time, the disciples, but the people who believe on what the disciples would say in their testimony. Christians across the world, Catholic, whether they're Catholic or Protestant and so forth, will come together and worship Jehovah in spirit and in truth.
Again, visiting today with author Peter Miller-Russo. He's got a book out called Proclaim His Holy Name, Uncovering Yahovah's Will for His Name. Now, something that I want to talk to you about is, you kind of mentioned this, if each branch of Christianity, if they were all, I'm not going to say necessarily practicing the same religion, but if they were all talking to the same God and calling Him by the same name, think about the other religions that are out there as well, whether it's Judaism or Muslims or Islam or all the different religions. Many of them believe in a creator. Do they all believe? Do you think it's the same creator?
There's a good debate about that. I personally don't think it's the same creator. They have different names that they call the Father or the Creator. The name of the Muslim religion that they call their God. We don't believe it's the same God of the Christians and Jews. Now, there's a big debate about that. Many will claim that we all should worship the same God, but I don't believe that's the case, and that's part of the reason we have this battling. We see one group of militant, a very militant group, which I won't name the name, everybody will know what it is. They're
Sure.
destroying old pagan temples, and you have the temples of these other names of other gods, which the Bible tells us not to say, so I don't say them again. And that's what actually their God is telling them to do, is destroy the names of other gods. And I don't think they'd hesitate to destroy synagogues and churches, because the name of the God of the Jews and Christians is not the name of the God of Islam. I mean, they're looking for world domination. And it is a battle that's not going to just go away. Now, what we are called to do is love. The Muslims or the Arabian people are people that came from the original creation. We're all sons of Noah at one point. And so God loves everybody. He wants to save everybody. And so there's a chance, and he's coming to Muslims. He's coming to them in dreams and visions. We need to love them, not to fight them.
And that, when you think about this, if we would all do what we were told to do by Jesus when he was on this planet, whether you believe he was the Son of God or if you think he was just a prophet, historically accurate, he was here, he was on this planet, and it's also documented that while he was here, he said, love one another. And think about how great the world would be if everybody would do that, just love one another.
Yes, if you plant a seed, if you plant an apple seed, you get an apple tree.
Yeah.
You plant a cucumber, you're going to get cucumbers, right? You know what's going to come out of the ground. When you plant seeds of hate, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's going to hurt other people, and it's going to propagate more hate and more violence. We need to plant seeds of love, and it takes individual change, a desire on each person's part, and make a commitment to change and to love our neighbor as ourselves.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for taking some time on this Wednesday to visit with us, and I really appreciate you doing what you're doing. Again, the book is called Proclaim His Holy Name, Uncovering Yahovah's Will for His Name. Am I saying that right, Yahovah?
Yehovah, more like Yehovah.
Okay. Well, see, now I've been getting it wrong the whole darn time here.
Oh, no, you're doing great. I mean, our Father, if you're growing up as a little child, as you get older, and you say, Daddy, if you said the word wrong, you might say Dadu or something. He understands.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a specific, I got to get it 100% right type of thing. It's more of an honor, respect, and a desire.
Well, now, where can we find a copy of the book? Somebody listening right now is saying, I want to find this thing. Where do they go to find it, sir?
Well, certainly the easiest place is on Amazon.com, and our website has more information, proclaimhisholyname.org.
Awesome. Thank you again, Peter. You have a wonderful day, and thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
My pleasure, John.
And again, the book is called Proclaim His Holy Name, Uncovering Yahovah's Will for His Name. Again, Peter Miller-Russo has been our guest today. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is 9/9/15. It's Wednesday, September the 9th, 2015. And today is Wonderful Weirdos Day.
I like that day.
Me too. It's also, I don't understand this, Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Day. So what does that mean exactly?
I have no idea. I know what fetal alcohol syndrome is.
Yeah,
but
Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders
we will
Day.
have to look that up and see exactly what that is.
I don't know how you celebrate that. I don't think that's what
I don't think it's worthy of
But I will celebrate.
celebrating.
Well, for those of you who've had struggles in that, today's a day to honor maybe the achievements that have been made in that field. I'm not exactly sure. But it is Wonderful Weirdos Day. I think we mentioned that. And that's the one I'm going to celebrate because
we know a lot of wonderful weirdos.
I have many wonderful weirdos in my life. And today is Teddy Bear Day as well.
Oh, I like teddy bears.
So celebrate with your teddy bear by doing something wonderfully weird. That just sounds bad. Moving on. Coming up, are you looking for Mr. Right? We're going to tell you how to find him coming up.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
If you're looking for Mr. Right, look at his home. Here's what a man's home says about him, according to relationship expert Nancy Lee Wandra. She says if you're on a date with somebody and you make it back to his home, when you walk in, if he has bar stools, they're for activities that require alertness. When positioned in the dining area, stools indicate meals are practical affairs meant to handle hunger, not socializing. Men who use stools in this manner are often unwilling to make long-lasting connections. So if you're dating somebody who doesn't have a table, he just sits at a stool, chances are he's not looking for a long-term relationship. Next, take a look in the bathroom. If it's messy, messy bathrooms, say the homeowner is someone who is careless about personal hygiene. The bomb goes off and links this man to low self-esteem or an inability to nurture others. So that's not good. So, man, if you got a messy bathroom, clean it up. Next, bed location. See where his bed is located. Offering a clear view of the bedroom door labels the man as a take-charge kind of guy, likely to assume the responsibilities of the relationship. On the flip side, sleeping with an obstructed view of the doorway may indicate fear of assuming responsibility. How big is the bedroom if you can't see the door?
I think this is a ridiculous list.
Hey, I'm just reading it, lady. I didn't make this stuff up.
That's fine.
Kitchen clutter. reveals a man's inability to carry through on good intentions, but a clean, tidy, well-stocked kitchen caters to men who have an easy time expressing their feelings. So I'm trying to think if before we were together, if I had a tidy kitchen. I think I did.
Okay, let's think of our kitchen today.
Well, let's not
Like
talk about that.
when you walk into the kitchen
Yeah.
and leave the kitchen, is it tidy when you leave the kitchen?
Sometimes.
Never.
Once. It happened once. I remember putting stuff away once. It was excruciating. And let's move on. This is not about me. If you're looking for Mr. Right, also see if he has plants or pets. Plants and pets portray a man who enjoys life and all living things. He's a nurturer who is in tune to the need of others.
That's lovely.
So if he can take care of plants and he can take care of pets, he can also take care of
I don't think
relationships.
you had either when we met.
I did too. I had plants and pets.
You didn't have a pet when we met?
I had a pet plant. It was a chia. No, it wasn't really. I didn't, right when we met, no, I didn't have a pet anymore, but I because I had moved. I just recently moved. But I usually had a pet. At least one, sometimes two. All right, that's going to do it. If you'd like to know more, the expert on relationship advice, her name is Nancy Wandra. So go check that out. Coming up, we're going to talk about the IRS, making sure they get every last penny. It's a very funny story on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening on a Wednesday. Got an interesting story about the IRS. Be warned, those IRS computers, they're pretty fine-tuned. Philip Gallion, a retired Honeywell engineer, lives in Lakeshore, Minnesota. He got his federal tax rebate, and they were sent out to a bunch of people. They were supposed to be $600, right? $600 even. That's what they were.
Okay.
His check was for $599.99. He said, I thought maybe I misread the stories about the refund, because let's keep in mind, it's a penny. It's not a big deal. But it was to him. He thought, maybe there's a sliding scale or something, but a penny? A few days later, he received a 4-page letter from the IRS explaining his rebate had been reduced to cover interest he owed on underpayment of his 2000 taxes. He called the phone number provided and said it was a long recorded message, and he said, I ate my whole breakfast waiting for a person. Finally, when they came on the line, she confirmed. They looked up his account records. She said, I made a calculation error of 46 cents. They said they wrote off 45 cents.
Oh, my gosh.
And he said she wasn't even laughing. She seemed to be quite serious. He said it seemed like she had been answering questions like this for quite some time.
I bet she had.
So every person that got one of these checks, whenever that's been a while back, that was supposed to be $600. Well, they calculated his was off by 1 penny. Well, you had 46-cent difference from 8 years ago.
When were they sending out everybody a $600?
I think that was a couple years ago, so I'm not sure why this story just came around now.
Because I don't remember that.
It is. This one came to us on the snail mail.
Apparently.
I'm not exactly sure. Coming your way, we've got something else to talk about that's probably outdated. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Heidi's making fun of me because my stories are not,
Not timely.
real timely. Hey,
relevant.
Take a listen to this one. Imagine if the President of the United States never made an appearance, ever. Can you imagine that? Like if the President was not in front of the public, ever? That's not normal, but it has happened. American presidential candidates need very little encouragement to give a speech. Sometimes they show up when you don't even want them there. But that's kind of amazing that our third president, who was that, Heidi?
Thomas Jefferson.
Hey, good job. I was trying to throw a curveball to you. I didn't even think you were paying attention. She's in the middle of a game of Candy Crush over that. For sure, she wasn't even going to be tuned in. Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence, made no public appearances and no speeches during his 8 years as president.
Really?
The only thing he did as president publicly was deliver his inaugural address to Congress. He even submitted his annual State of the Union message in writing. Hardly anyone saw him while he was president. And
why?
What? Because he didn't want to go out and talk to people. He just didn't like doing that.
Well, I can't say I blame him.
He enjoyed drinking wine as well. I remember reading that he had like a $15,000 wine bill when he left office.
This is why he was my favorite president.
I knew you'd like that. Coming up, we've got something. We got a story about passwords. Yeah, that's what we're going to chat about. It's on the way.
Hey, I just figured out why he didn't do many speeches.
Why is that?
He was probably too drunk to go out in public.
That's very possible. All right, we're going to chat about passwords coming up next.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Heidi, do you like passwords? Like when you log into stuff,
No.
you got to punch them in? I'm not a fan either. And you know what? Nobody.
I mean, I understand
likes.
why you need them, obviously, but no.
And you got to change them every once in a while. You can't use the same
That's what
one.
I don't like. And then when they tell you have to change them, you can't use one that you've used even if you had used it 4 years ago.
I
You
know.
can't even go back to that one. So now you've got all these brand new passwords running around your head.
Maybe I could have saved this for our good news then, because, listen to this, everybody hates passwords. Between coming up with them and remembering them and finally resetting them when we sheepishly admit that we can't remember them, they're a pain in the tush. But according to Time magazine, the need for passwords could be coming to an end.
Really?
Yeah. Technology known as biometrics is slowly but surely replacing memorized passwords. With biometrics, your smartphone, your computer, or even an ATM could scan your fingerprint, your
that
retina,
I don't like.
your retina, or your entire face to recognize who you are and grant you password-free access to your device or your bank account.
I'll keep my password.
So you'd rather have a password than just put your hand on the thing and let it scan? Mm-hmm. Do you remember in Back to the Future 2, when they were in the future, which is this year, 2015, they scanned her thumbprint, and that's how
find out who she was.
Yeah, and she put her thumbprint to open the door as well. That opened the door. So this is technology that was predicted by Back to the Future, and now they're saying, hey, now that we're in the future, 2015, like next month is the month they went to. I actually have it on my calendar. Not that calendar, but it's next. It's like, I don't know, a month and a half away is when they went to in the future. And now they're saying that, hey, we're almost there. So that's kind of cool.
Slippery slope.
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea to be able to use that. There are people already that have, don't you have a thumbprint gun safe? There are people that have those.
No, mine is not a
Yours is not?
Mine's a password.
What is your password to that?
I'm not telling you what my
I thought maybe
password
I'd
is
trick
to
that out of you. She won't tell me. That's where she keeps the gun. I'm like, can I see the gun? No, I'll show you the gun if you need to see the gun. Well, if I need to see the gun, I might have a problem. All right, coming up, we've got some good news. That is on the way. Thanks for joining us right here on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
And we always like to end the program with some positive news, and I think this is kind of cool. There will be an extra special show in the night sky, and it'll be coming up this month. Now, for those of you who happen to be on Facebook, you see this every 2 or 3 days. Somebody will post a stupid image with a gigantic moon, and they'll say, on such and such date, you're going to see the moon, or you're going to see Neptune, or you're going to see Venus, or you're going to see Mars. Or do you see these things all the time?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be very bright in the night sky. Anyway, most of that is just a bunch of phooey. It's like hoaxes and some kid with Photoshop playing around.
Which is what is the point of that?
No, there is no point.
I just don't understand that.
There is
at
no
all.
point. But according to ABC News, there's going to be a rare supermoon lunar eclipse that will occur for the first time since 1982. So it's been a while since we've had this. And the cosmic event will take place on the night of September the 27th, which is a Sunday evening, when two periodic events, supermoons and lunar eclipses, will happen at the same time. A supermoon occurs when a full moon happens when it's at the closest point in the elliptical orbit around Earth, making the full moon about 14% larger in appearance and much brighter than usual. A lunar eclipse happens when the moon passes into the Earth's shadow, often turning blood red in color. And this is going to happen simultaneously. So we're going to have a really big moon, and it could be bright red. So that's going to be happening. Thanks for tuning in to the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can save time, you can save money, and you can shave like a rock star if you go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio. When you get there, you can sign up for the Humble Twin. It's $1 a month plus $2 for shipping. So the total on that is $3 a month delivered to your door. Or you can do the 4X, which is the step up, and that's only $6 a month. Or for just $9 a month, you can have the executive. Of the three, Heidi, which one's your favorite?
I like them all. For me, razors are razors. I mean, for years I was buying our razors at the dollar store. So.
Yeah, they were like, hey, this one's a nickel. I'm like, yeah, I have to use 4 of those to shave me once.
But your hair is much more coarse than mine, so I think that makes a big difference. For a woman, I think it's a little bit different than it is for a man.
I'll tell you, I love the executive. It's my favorite. For the last 2 months, we've been using the 4X because I wanted to try them. I was like, I never even tried them, so it's kind of hard to give my opinion on something I'd never tried. And I do like them. I like them a lot. But I am going in today to switch back to the executive just because it's the only time I have anything that has the word executive on it. I'm just saying.
Makes you feel important.
I feel for one half of a minute every day while I'm shaving, I feel important. Then I put that away and reality sets back in. But if you'd like to shave like an executive, or even if you just want the Humble Twin, whichever way you'd like to go, get them now at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. So what's your opinion, Heidi? Should police officers putting their lives on the line every day be allowed to keep whatever they find while they're on duty? So, like, if they do a drug bust and they bring in, $18 million, should they get to keep that? Yeah, I don't think so either. That's a bad idea, because then I think you'd have officers doing things that they probably
corrupt
shouldn't do.
Things. Yeah.
Well, not all, because a lot of officers would be honest no matter what.
No, I agree. I am not in any way saying, but I do think it's just a bad idea.
There's a police officer right now, and there's a debate in Pittsburgh. Officer William Richards found $20,000 after questioning a motorist in 1996 who claimed the money belonged to him. The motorist said that he accidentally threw it out of his truck when the police approached to ask him why his vehicle was parked on the side of the road, facing the wrong direction. The suspect was arrested for DUI, and now Richard's attorney feels that he should be able to keep the money since he's the one that found it. So the money was in the ditch. So this is a little different than what I thought. The money was in the ditch. It wasn't like he found it and picked it up illegally. He found it when he approached this vehicle. He was giving the gentleman a DUI. While he was on duty, he found $20,000 in the ditch. He's like, wow, there's $20,000 laying. What is this? The DUI guy said, oh, I threw it out my window when I saw you coming. And now there's a big controversy over where does that money go? Who gets that? What happens to that? So that's a little different. I was thinking they were talking about evidence. Because here's the thing I do wonder. When they make a bust and they bring in a big, huge chunk of revenue, they have all this money sitting in an evidence room somewhere. What happens to that? Where does that go then? Does that money actually get put into the police department budget, or do they burn that money, or what do they do with that?
Well, they don't burn the money.
I have no clue. I have no idea. It's different. Like, I'm sure it's, when you watch, because according to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I'm sure is probably extremely accurate.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know
Andy
that I would
Samberg's take on the
necessarily-
NYPD. They have, there was an episode where there was a drug bust and they had a Lamborghini and he was driving that. So I don't know if they really do that. Is that real? I know 3 police officers that we are related to. I could probably ask one of them.
Probably. They would be able to tell you.
Maybe I should have asked before we got to this. All right, after seeing his case featured in a local newspaper, a New Jersey fugitive went to turn himself in to authorities, but they wouldn't let him. 36-year-old David Cootie attempted to turn himself into the Somerset County Jail, but he was not allowed to go home after officials incorrectly told him that there were no warrants for his arrest. Authorities apparently ran his name through the database tracking municipal information, but they failed to check other databases containing state and national information.
Ooh.
Had they done so, they would have realized that he was a wanted man. He now is still at large. So if he does get caught someday, he can say, I went in. I tried to turn myself in. They said that they didn't want me. So how crazy is that? It was in the newspaper. He walked in and was like, hey, I'm in the paper. You guys, I'm wanted for something? What am I wanted for? So whatever it is, it wasn't in their municipality. It was something that was either state or national. And let's end on this. An obviously hapless Bosnian thief, identified only as Fiham, managed to turn the trifecta. First, the 44-year-old was caught breaking into a car and taken to a police station. He was released after giving a statement, but was back in a few hours after having caused a car accident in another vehicle that was stolen. Once again, he was released. After 2 more failed car thefts, he found himself burglarizing a home. He was caught there as he broke into the apartment. This time, they decided to keep him in police custody for a while. He was arrested 3 times in one night. So he was arrested, they released him, arrested, released, arrested again.
Rampage.
I can't imagine that his court date is going to go well. I mean, what kind of defense would that be? Well, Your Honor, I'm a moron. You are correct. All right. Thanks for listening to our bonus break brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.